the new Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe. And ring the little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. So this video is a bit of a weird one for me because I recorded it and edited it, put it together yesterday, and I decided this morning to re-record it because I think it's a well, first it's a sensitive issue. Every time I talk about these issues, well, often my channel does get hit with a community strike, and it's not good for me, right? So I have to be somewhat careful, but also I think it's important to be careful because this is a topic that people are very, very sensitive about on every side of the aisle of the argument. So I thought I would re-record it again because I think I can get the point over in a stronger way, and I think it's a very important point. It's a point that I think it's like the raison d'etre of my channel right now. We live in a multicultural society, which by definition means that some people believe things that are completely an anathema, completely the opposite of what other people believe. Now, I think we've seen this clash of cultures many ways over the last 10-15 years. It's I think the influx of people from the Arab world, the Muslim world, in the wake of ISIS, right? That was a massive cultural clash, and I don't think the Western world was any way prepared for it. I don't think they were prepared for it because I don't think they want to acknowledge that cultures are different. And no, if you want to be really honest, I think a lot of progressive people in the Western world look at the things that are normative and moral in the Arab world, and they go, "Oh, that's terrible." But I'm saying, "Oh, that's terrible about people with a browner color skin, so that's bad." So I gotta pretend those things don't happen, right? So that's the kind of weirdness that's going on. But the cultural clash we have now, I think, is between people who essentially believe in a Judeo-Christian moral system, and people who don't, right? People who are very, very, very opposed to it. Somebody who's okay with the idea of there being a God, and somebody who is not okay with there being an idea of God. A great example of that fissure we see in society is over the abortion question in America right now. It's if you like, when does life begin, right? When does life begin? If you believe in God, right? If you believe in there's a soul. You don't even believe in God. If you believe there's a soul, if you believe there's a metaphysical aspect to life, it's much harder to say. Like, when does life begin? In Judaism, Kabbalah says 40 days after conception, right? But it's we don't really know when life begins. But yeah, when you terminate a pregnancy, if that thing is a life, then you have killed that thing. Now, I'm not saying ban abortion because of that, right? I'm not saying that at all. But be aware that that is probably taking a life, and the longer on it goes, the more definite it is a life. If you don't believe in a soul, if you don't believe in God, then it's a clump of cells, and it's always a clump of cells right up until it comes out. Frankly, it's a clump of cells after it comes out as well. The only reason why there isn't murder is for social convenience, right? Because there's no moral argument against it because there is no shared moral system. So that's a real fissure we're having. Another fissure we're having is with trans issues, right? Which I got to be super careful about talking about, but I want to talk about it honestly, and I really think if we choose it, right? If we choose it, and it really is down to us. If we choose it, we are at a dawn of a brand new day and a much, much better and happier day, which is what I really want, right? I might be completely wrong about my premise. I might be completely wrong about my theory. Maybe, but maybe I'm right? Maybe I'm right. And if I'm right, we can have peace. And peace is something that's valuable, right? Peace is something that's not just a cessation of like fighting, but actual peace. The word for peace in the Jewish word for peace is shalom, right? It means hello, it means goodbye, it means a lot. We Jews we do use our resources over and over again. So we use shalom, we use it for a lot of things. But what does shalom actually means? It means two disparate things locking together in perfect harmony. It's that yin and yang. The two things are different. The two things are independent, but they're able to coexist, right? They're able to coexist. So that's my overarching desire, that we should have shalom, we should have peace, we should coexist with each other, and we should live and be happy, right? I think that's a good thing to do. Fine, before we get into the video, can you hit the like button, can you hit the share button, can you hit the subscribe? Please do hit the share button, because I think this is a good and important message, and I'd like to get out as widely as possible. Also, YouTube likes you sharing the videos, okay? So that's also, I assume Rumble does as well. If you're on Rumble, God bless you. Thank you for being on Rumble. Hit that Rumble button, sign up to my Substack, that's their email newsletter that keeps you updated. If you ever see content not going on this channel, that means YouTube has banned me. I've got another channel, I got a Rumble channel. Sign up to my Substack. When I get my act together, I'll put comics, add stuff to it. This last month or two has been an absolute nightmare, so nothing's going to... I also have a paid Substack. You know what you get if you sign up to paid Substack? Nothing, right? I've had all these great plans and things to do. I tell you, my life has just been on fire for the last month or so I just haven't had time to do anything. I'm very sorry. So I just want to be honest with you. I have every intention of giving the paid subscribers something, giving them a lot, right? Every intention, but of course that is the road to hell is indeed paved with those good intentions, right? So like, share, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think, comment, and as I said, Substack, paid Substack, all those are fan-freaking-tastic. Absolutely wonderful. So anyway, let's do a little recap. Over the last week, we had a lot of news, we had a lot of filming, it was just glorious, right? I have to tell you, it was absolutely glorious being excited about Doctor Who, and I really am. I really, if you see my video, I think it's going out on this is going out on Saturday. If you see my video that goes out on went out on Friday. It's all the news and rumors and the videos and pictures that people took from the filming location filming in Camden Town, where I used to go to school, right? I used to go to, and it's glorious, right? I'm so excited. There's this little bit where David Tennant has got Wilf. Just seeing Wilf makes me happy. Has got Wilf in a wheelchair, right? And the scene is they have to get to the TARDIS quickly. And you see before action, David Tennant's running on the spot and ready to go there and getting that energy up, and it's freaking fantastic, right? I watched a Voyage of the Damned last night because I was so freaking excited to have this wonderful era back. If you didn't like the series to start with, it's fine. We can all have different things. Anyway, so we had a lot going on, and then right after David Tennant and Catherine Tate's return was announced, we got the announcement that Yasmin Finney had been cast. And I think a lot of people felt deflated. Now, if you're somebody on the other side, the other cultural side who maybe hate watching this video or just interested, right? Let me explain to you why people felt a bit deflated by that. It's because several reasons. One, it's over the last several years we've been in a culture war, right? And one of the weapons in a culture war has been representation. Now, what representation actually meant in practical reality is domination, complete and total domination. I said earlier we have a fissure in society, those who believe in Judeo-Christian morality, those who do not, right? And it's a similar fissure we had with same-sex marriage and with the legalizing of same-sex relations in the early 70s. We have the Bible, essentially, which is again the document of morality for much of the Western world, said these things are not good for you, right? These things are not good for you, and are not overly friendly to them, right? And we've had which is a real problem, especially someone like me. I was born in 71, right? So I was born with same-sex relations being legal, and for me it just still feels so terrible, right? And even though I believe I'm a Bible-thumping creationist, right? I'm literally a Bible-thumping creationist. It feels so terrible to me that same-sex relations would be illegal, right? And it's, I think people should be treated like people. I'm not saying the Bible's wrong, right? I'm not saying the Bible's wrong. I'm saying I have an emotional conflict because I like people and I don't want to see people torn apart, right? I really, genuinely speaking, genuinely do not want to see that. Now, going through to the same-sex marriage question, about 7 years ago? Now, I was opposed to it. Well, I am a Bible-thumping creationist, right? Also, the Kabbalistic tradition is that the flood was brought by a corruption of marriage, right? Changing the definition of what marriage was. So I think there's something that normally bodes badly, and it's a slippery slope where, within 7 years you won't know if a penis is male or female anymore, right? Could be what happened. However, growing up, I had in my grandparents' house, they had two women lodgers, which I absolutely adore. So I grew up there. They're like aunties to me, right? And so when same-sex marriage became legal, they got married, right? Oh, I guess I answered the question. But their joy, right? Their genuine, palpable joy. Even though it's something I was opposed to on a theoretical level, I love these people, right? And I'm so happy for them, right? So that's the quandary we're in. So now we're dealing with trans issues, and it's a much more complex issue because there is genuine damage that can be done to lots and lots of people by this methodology. Again, not representation. It's not trans representation. It's trans domination, where you can't where you can't talk about the traditional Judeo-Christian outlook on life. Right? You're not allowed to say it because it's now hate speech. We used to be, we could have all just lived and let live, but that's what domination is, right? That's what it's not representation. So I think a lot of people, so that's the first thing. The second thing is that identity politics has, to a great extent, been platformed. Doctor has been used as a platform for identity politics type ideology. The standard of storytelling has been unbelievably abysmal. Unbelievably poor. And this is in Doctor Who, this is also in Star Trek, in Star Wars, DC Comics, Marvel Comics, and so when Russell T. was going about, everybody thought, yay, we're getting back to good stories again, right? Great stories. And then we saw this, Yasmin's casting, which normally speaking, in up until now, has been diversity casting, right? Has been box ticking. Right now, I'm not saying that Yasmin isn't a great actress. She probably is. I'm not arguing with the talent. In fact, I'm actually arguing in favor. I'm trying to explain why people were upset at the casting. It's not like, oh, I don't want to see trans people. However, on a practical level, that's how it came out, right? That's 100% how it came out. So, what's Russell doing here? Is this trans domination or is it trans representation? I think it's trans representation, and here's why. I think it's because, as I said, we've been in this culture war for quite some time, and I think it's over. Right? I think it's still playing out because the things we see in culture was from 2 years ago. It was greenlit two to 4 years ago. So we're looking at decisions that are from the past. But the culture war is over. Essentially, Spider-Man: No Way Home ended the culture war. It made it very clear that the goal of the culture war was to dominate, to eradicate normal. They call it normally cisgendered, white cisgendered entertainment, right? White cisgendered, normalcy in media. That was the goal. So they took all that out, right? They did definitely take that out. Star Wars became this weird brand that nobody really liked anymore. Same with Star Trek and Doctor Who. It was made clearly for girls, even though they won't not acknowledge that boys and girls are different, even though clearly they are. It was made for girls, but it was a more masculine subject matter, Star Wars, so nobody likes it. And essentially, once you insert in a bunch of ideologies and that nobody really on a guttural level believes in, then it just becomes unwatchable for most because it weirdly doesn't reflect you and it doesn't reflect reality and you can't tell how, and it makes you feel very uncomfortable, right? It makes you feel uncomfortable. So people just switched off on droves, right? And this is something that we're over here in our hashtag Fandom Menace. We said was going to happen for years and years and years. Did happen, right? We were of the assumption when it did happen, everything would change overnight. No. No, people do not give up on ideology that quickly. But Spider-Man: No Way Home has changed everything, right? Because it was a movie made without agenda. It was made purely to entertain and was purely entertaining, right? So and it did fantastically at the box office. So the Hollywood moron said, "Oh yeah, we can. That's because of multiverse. People like multiverse." So they put out Doctor Strange, and Multiverse of Madness lost 82% of its box office from week 1 to week 2. People are not interested in it. The culture war is over. Right, we're going to still see things from the last couple of years, like Miss Marvel's coming out. Everything we're going to see from Star Wars and Doctor Who, that Star Wars, I say, and Star Trek. Oh, not even Star Trek. Brave New Worlds now. Also, it smelt the coffee. It's worked out. It's not viable. Doctor Who. It's worked out. It's not viable to continue in this path. So the culture war is essentially over. However, people like outrage. People like conflict. People like conflict, and yeah, people are somewhat addicted to it. So I want to suggest this, that Russell Davies is attempting to make a Doctor Who that will appeal to everybody. And when I say everybody, a lot more people than before. I think it's going to be the most popular Doctor Who ever. And I think I think what happened is he saw this person, Yasmin Finney, in this show, heartwarming, said, "Oh, how marvelous! Oh, I bet I make her a character." And I think she's Donna's daughter, right? I think that's the rumor. So she's a character within it. It doesn't mean that Doctor Who will be revolving around being trans. Now, I think in the hands of a lesser writer, it probably would have done. And if this character is a major front and center character, it's going to make it very much about being trans. Much in the same way, Capaldi's last season, which is my absolute favorite, with Bill Potts, who a companion I absolutely adore, right? Absolutely adore, was very, very much marred because it was a lot of it was based around her being gay. And it just it was incongruous. It's like, I don't, Howard being I don't need to hear about you being gay so you can battle monks in a giant, rotting monks in a giant pyramid. By the way, that pyramid 3-parter, way better than you think. Go back and check it out. Freaking awesome, right? Absolutely awesome. But it was it was mad. So I think if it was Chris Chibnall doing it and Yasmin Finney had been cast, it's gonna be a painful episode. Uncomfortably inserting trans issues, trans propaganda, I would say, into the world. Under Russell Davies, I think we have good reason, very, very good reason to be optimistic. That's not the case. I think, firstly, he's smart enough to understand how detrimental this culture war and this push for dominance has been to the LGBTQ plus, right? I think it's been extremely, extremely damaging, and so I think he wants to do something a bit smarter. Here's the goal. Here's how you normalize another identity, into that. You don't make them into a Mary Sue that can't be wrong in any way, shape, or form and is perfect. Don't make him into a Michael Burnham. Right? No, you make him into a human character. That's why we love Captain Jack, right? Captain Jack was just a fun freaking character. And yes, he did have a full-on mouth kiss with the Doctor in that first season, right? And it didn't seem that platonic to me, right? And he was very, very outwardly omnisexual, right? And so, and again, we were all fine with it. We were all fine with it. Why were we fine with it then, but we might not be fine with Yasmin now? Because we weren't in the midst of a culture war. Now we have been. But the culture war is over, right? The culture war is over. And I really want to encourage people to look at it that way. The things may still be awful, right? But I think things being made from now on, more likely than not, will not be awful. And also, there's this real genuine push to keep up the animosity. But again, used to be that people with differing outlooks, again, people who believe in God, people who believe in biblical culture, people who believe, people who are LGBTQ plus. We also used to get together and say, "Oh my God, that episode of Doctor Who was freaking awesome, and I loved it." Right? We could use these things as a bridge to come together. And society really, really needs that right now. Society really, really needs that. We've had so much division, and so much hate, and people have just become addicted to it. So I want to show you something things that I don't want you to be. Right? We're going to look at the unbridled hatred of the other side of the aisle, right? Or the other side of this argument. I want to say, don't be this. This is like you do not want to be. We're going to look at it, and then we're gonna look at the hiring, the casting of Yasmin Finney from the point of view of somebody who's very, very supportive of her, and try and understand and why this is a big deal, and why there is something happening. And maybe if we all understand each other just a little bit better, we could all sit around and go, man, those Daleks are awesome. Wouldn't that be great? But anyway, let's look at this. This guy, Mr. Trilby. Mr. Trilby is a hate merchant. And please don't contact him. He just lies. And what you're going to see. But he lies to generate hatred, right? And then he calls everybody else hateful. It's unbelievable, right? So this person over here posted this thing from GB News, and I watched the clip. I'm not playing it. Go ahead and watch it for yourself. I'm paraphrasing it. I don't want to make this video go on forever. But he's quoting GB News and saying, "I don't care or watch Doctor Who, but it just doesn't sit right with me." Now that's actually a direct quote, right? The woman here on screen said that word doesn't sit right with me, but she didn't say the next bit. That they aren't casting only white people in the show. That's the listen. If you're gonna criticize someone's morality, you got to work on what they actually said, not what you think they're saying. And that's the issue that I want to get over. Right? We got Yasmin Finn has been cast. For us, we think it says. For many, we think it says one thing. I don't know it does. Don't imprint your view on what's happening onto other people, right? That's a really central thing. Don't do that, because that, as these people are doing over here, is it a toxic mindset to have? Yeah, well, if it was, 100% it would be. Nobody said that. Nobody said that. Well done to the first guest for shutting it down. Yeah, like she's saying, I don't think it is a problem. It was a mixed panel, right? She's saying it feels somewhat uncomfortable. It feels like to somebody who is a normie, doesn't know what's going on. They've just become red-pilled, right? They've just become red-pilled and seen what's going on in the entertainment industry. We've known for years, right? But they've just noticed Disney are like practically begging little boys to suck a dick, right? They go, give it a try. Mickey does it. Oh, he likes it. Oh, yeah. Oh, Mickey, he's a boy. They might be a guy. There's all this weird sexual identity stuff replete in like so much of entertainment, right? So yeah, so that's what she's probably reacting to. What many of us were reacting to with the casting. When she said doesn't sit right with me, that doesn't sit right with you. But she didn't say that are only casting white people in the show. That's what you heard, but that's not what was said. And again, you've got to deal with people honestly to be able to have a reasoned conversation, which they have no intention of doing. It's a toxic mindset. Well done to first guest shutting down. Shooty and Yasmin are talented actors. I agree with you. I think. Listen, I haven't seen anything, but I think if Russell Davies hired them, I think they're probably talented actors, right? That's what I think. End of story. So then we got Mr. Trilby, who's again, he loves hatred. He just loves a division, and it's so weird, but he does. And that's why he lies all the time to make division. Again, don't contact him. He always lies and says, "Oh, every time the rabbi talks about me, I get white supremacists in my mentions." No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't, silly little boy. Nothing to see here. Just Philip on GB News saying, think of the children, because people of colour and LGBTQ plus on TV. That's not what he said at all. So why are you free-framing it in such a terrible way? No, subtle. This is just flagrant white supremacy on TV. If that's what you believe happened, you are mentally ill. You're in a delusional state, and you really need to get to a hospital immediately. Oh, that's a very common delusional state, because that's not what happened. That's not what happened at all. Again, go watch the clip for yourself. Admitting that no matter how talented Gatwa and Finney are, they'll always be seen as a box tick. His point he was making was incredibly accurate, right? It's that if you hire people based on their identity, which we've seen happen over and over and over again, throughout the entirety of media, particularly in the Chibnall era of Doctor Who, then it devalues everybody. It devalues everybody who isn't white hiring. Right then, if you make box ticking the norm, then when you hire somebody who is normally a box tick, their hiring is lesser. You've devalued it, right? You've devalued it. But it's so important for them to believe that they are fighting a world with racists, right? Because, and when you say it, it's so pathetic and it's so sad. I actually felt bad for them. It's because they're of this generation that grew up with participation trophies, who just never learned the ability to be wrong, right? And they were wrong about so many things. They said Barack Obama was the greatest president ever. He was a disaster. It was a disaster, destroyed the economy and much of the world. Absolute disaster. Donald Trump came in, they said he was the worst ever. Best world peace and wonderful economy. That's a factual statement, right? We had world peace and the best economy ever, and now gone. They had the worst economy ever. So they want to say they were voted for because of racist. Same with Brexit. They were all about Brexit. No, your ideas just are wrong, and they cause misery, right? Yeah, especially with the. Was it trans issues, which with the trans domination, right, in things like Disney, I think is much more likely to end up with a lot more people in a lot more pain, right? I heard a story of who was on Temple, a woman who transitioned, then transitioned back. She talked about how she transitioned, and it was in the article we're going to read. It echoes a lot of things. It was in the Phil's from a Reddit, I think, or no, Tumblr. She was big into Tumblr when she was like 10 in the 2010s, and she read gay erotica, right? And she was a girl, and she found it somewhat arousing. I mean, she was like 13. I don't quite remember how old she was, but her puberty was just starting, and she was aroused, right? I think it's quite normal. And so on the Tumblr forums, that's a great example, or a great answer that you might well be trans, right? You might well be trans. A lot of people trans feel that way. And the more that she made steps to being trans, said, okay, I'm going to cut my hair. She got an incredible amount of social currency, incredible amount of support, amount of people going, "You are the greatest ever," right? And younger kids, which is what also adults, but younger kids respond very, very well to that, right? And again, I understand that the raison d'etre of this is to not have kids who are trans feel marginalized and suicidal, right? I understand that's the goal, but I don't think they're taking a completely holistic response. So anyway, Mr. Tardis carries on. Mr. Carries on over here and says, conservatives cannot fathom non-white actors being talented. You made up this insane this insane tower of cards in your head. You've made it all up. Right, and now you're whenever you're saying a group of people, especially a group of people who are traditional normative views that are not extreme in any way, are all evil. You might be on the wrong side of history, mate. You might well be on the wrong side of history. 2 members of the band are living proof. No, you're just looking at them with malicious eyes. And again, this is what I want to say to everybody watching this video. Look at people with kind, loving eyes, right? Don't look at everybody as the worst in the world, because being addicted to hate isn't good for you, right? Isn't good for you. They just don't see black people as people. No, what? And their hiring must always be treated as suspicious. No, we are not the ones who devalued black actors within the industry. That would be you, right? When you have a token black. You devalue anybody black. You devalue all humans. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. We don't want to be like. So which I think is a reasonably good idea, not to be like that. So let's try and get inside the head of people who are very, very excited by this, right? So yeah, something I hear over and over again. We heard it from Shooting, right? It feels great. He feels so seen, right? It feels great to be seen. And to me, I go, what? Like, how is it? How is it you, in any way, shape, or form, that you don't feel seen, right? Trans people seem to be very, very seen, right? In every way, shape, or form, we seem to be very, very, very seen. Much more so than fat Jews in basements, right? So, yeah, not that I'm jealous, it's just like, I don't understand how you don't feel seen, right? It seems really, really, really odd to me. So, I want to take that on face value, right? I want to take that on face value. Now, I don't know what the reality is about being trans. There was a great quote from, what was it, Afterlife, Ricky Gervais in Afterlife. He's talking about when he was suicidal, right? And his character was suicidal. So the thing about mental illness is, you think you're being normal, right? You think you're being normal when you're doing something that is abnormal, like attempting suicide. I don't know if being trans is the same thing, right? I do not know. I'm not saying it is, but according to my Judeo-Christian biblical morality, being trans is not an expression of healthy sexuality. But that's my worldview, and I don't want to impose that upon anybody else. Live and let live. That was how we used to live here in the Western world. Live and let live. Live and let live with things that you think are I look at people like Elliot Page, and it makes me uncomfortable. It makes me uncomfortable because I think they've mutilated themselves, and they're old, and I think their soul is in immense pain. Right? I really, really, and so it's very uncomfortable. I probably won't be watching Umbrella Academy season 3. I mean, honestly, when they're in season 2, the story just died whenever they were on there. But it's very, very uncomfortable because I think I'm looking at somebody whose soul is torn apart and in pain, and they're exacerbating it, right? But they say they don't feel seen. So I look, however you want to look at it, for the entirety of human history. In every civilization, there's essentially been two genders, right? So I think when they're saying they don't feel seen, there's a whatever you want to call it, right? There's either a biblical imperative that of truth emanating through your soul, or there is a base reality of human nature, right? Which goes very much against the idea that a man can be can be born into a woman's body, woman born into a man, right? And that one physical reality normally trumps their emotional and psychological state. And I'm not saying it does. I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just saying that's been a cornerstone of human identity for the entirety of our species. So I think my theory is the whole thing about not being seen is they're reacting to that part of either their soul or their psyche, which says human beings, generally speaking, don't do this. This is generally speaking very, 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 very odd, right? And so they may. And again, I don't know because I see no rational reason why a trans person wouldn't feel seen when you have immense social currency for coming out as being trans, right? I don't understand. So I'm suggesting there you have this thing inside you, this human nature, right? This human nature that tells you no. It's not anybody on the outside telling you no. It's this human nature telling you no. Maybe I'm wrong, right? Maybe I'm wrong. And on the idea of the thought I might be wrong. Why don't we all just live and let live, right? Live and let live. Don't try and teach me or my children to live like you, and I won't try and teach you or your children, assuming you have them, to live like me. I have no need to proselytize. In fact, proselytization is actually verboten in Judaism. But I think they genuinely don't feel seen, right? And I think a casting like this legitimizes being trans, which I think is why some people have reacted badly against it. But again, if you have the imperative of human nature in your head or your soul whispering in your ear saying, "This is weird! This is weird! You're gonna be a bit edgy about it, right? And the more anything happens to legitimize that, the more you're gonna like it, right? So I want to say just in the same way that even though I was not on board for same-sex marriage, but I was so happy for these two aunts of mine, these two women to get married. sharing. I really was. It makes me smile today, like to see how happy they are. Why? Because I understand. I'm empathetic to them. Let's read this this account and try and be empathetic. And also, again, I really genuinely believe that this is going to be a Doctor Who for everybody. I might be wrong, and you know, the people who are saying this is R.I.P. Doctor Who may be 100% right. They were right before, and I was wrong before. Right, when Jodie Whittaker was first cast, I'm like, this is going to be great. Nothing wrong with this. It's going to be fantastic. And people on the were going, oh, this is bad news. They were all right. They were all right, and I was all wrong. Right, that's what happened. Maybe I'm just an insane optimist. I am, but it's a better way of living life, right? It's a better way of living life. If they make it and it's awful, which I don't think it can be. Remember, the culture war is over. Russell T Davies running Doctor Who is evidence of that. Culture war's over and we won, right? This is what victory looks like. You know, there was this big scrap called World War II. Germany started it, if you recall. And they also started World War I, quite frankly. But, you know, they lost the war, right? They lost the war. Is Germany still a country? Is it still around? Yes. We need to coexist. We need to coexist because this is what after the war looks like. So let's read this by Arthur Weber. Why we should celebrate Yasmin Finney, the first trans Doctor Who companion. When I was a trans teen, there was no one on TV like me. It's because it's quite rare. And excuse me, wasn't wait a minute. When did RuPaul's Drag Race start? That's been going for a while, hasn't it? Let me look that up. Okay, one second. I don't know how to pronounce RuPaul. I'm spelling it wrong. Paul Drag Race. Okay, go. It's been 14 seasons, started in 2009. So, it's been what? 13, 14 years? It's a general, like, okay. I don't know when you were a teenager, but yes, there was. But again, if you've got this voice in your head, if you have this genuine human nature imperative telling you there are two genders and you want to tell it it's not, you're going to need every piece of backing that you can. Fine. So Finney will help ensure the next generation never feel as doomed as I did. I understand that's the theory, right? I do understand that's the theory. I hope you're right? I hope you're right. I don't think that's going to be good. And again, I have no doubt this person is going to be good in the show. And if it's just a character in the background, not even back, even just a character that the show doesn't revolve around, then saying R.I.P. Doctor Who on this announcement, you're playing into everything that the people who disingenuously twist your words say. Yeah, we've been called every worst name under the sun. We've been called, bigots, racist, sexist, and generally speaking, it hasn't been true. Okay, I'm sure there's been a few in there, but and generally speaking, it's not been true. Don't make it true, even though we have every reason to believe this is to look at this negatively. Unlike the Doctor, I only have one heart. But when I read the news of Yasmin Finney had been cast in the role as a Time Lord's companion in the next season of Doctor, I don't think she has, mate. Right? I don't think she has. I think casting her as a companion will disprove my premise that Doctor Who wants that Russell Davies wants to make this a Doctor Who for everybody. At that point, he wants to make it. At that point, I think it's relatively obvious that he wants to do what Chris Chibnall wanted to do, but he's going to succeed in it. Where Chris Chibnall failed, right? Right now, my premise is that he's seen that Chris Chibnall has failed, and he wants to resurrect Doctor Who, right? Resurrect Doctor Who and maybe try and bring people back together, and also have some genuine representation as opposed to domination. I thought I might burst. Having recently finished the Netflix series Heartstopper, I was already longing to see more of this talented transgender actress. Finney, 18, will play a character called Rose, which was the name of Billie Piper's much-loved companion from 2005 to 10? What? No, she was in 2005 and 2006, right? And then she had appeared a little bit a couple of years later in a couple of episodes, and then as Bad Wolf, right, in the 50s. Okay, whatever. I mean, technically, it was between the years of 2005 and 2010, but okay. But the mystery connection between the two characters wasn't what moved me. It was the thought that Finn's appearance will undoubtedly have on the next generation of transgendered youth. Again, I hear what you're saying, right? I hear what you're saying. And if this is just a trans character, 2022, 2023 has trans people in it. If we're going to reflect society, yes, it's okay for them to be on screen, right? It's not okay to do what Disney's doing, right? This trans domination. Trans representation, I believe, is okay, right? Is okay. It would actually be kind of wrong not to. Then again, I've always been a bit of a hippie. What do you want out of me? When I was on trans TV, there was nobody on mainstream British TV like me. Again, I accepted in 2011 when I was 13. Now, again, I'm sorry. I mean, yes, I understand. I'm sorry. I think there was more trans people around on TV than you thought, right? When I was 13, but when it wasn't until 2017 when I saw the first trans man on TV, Riley Carter as Nick Slater on EastEnders. And again, EastEnders, yes, that's where you went for trans domination over trans representation. And what happened to EastEnders? It's dead. It's dead. They've destroyed it. Our lack of visibility, and again, I understand that you feel like you're not visible, and I feel bad. I genuinely have compassion for you for that. If this helps alleviate that for you, and it's not intrusive to me, right? It's something that we can all live together with, right? If it doesn't become the center of the show and it makes you feel like you're not being erased, that's fine. That's okay. Yeah, that's us all being able to live together, which is a good thing, right? Don't you miss that? I miss that. And lack of visibility continued to contribute to considerable self-hatred. I know that's what you think. I know that's what you think, and I'm not saying you're wrong. There may be more factors going on. I genuinely believe I was doomed to lead a miserable life. I'd never seen a trans person living out a happy one. Okay, Finney could help ensure that the next generation of transgender people do not experience this. But what if the nature of being transgendered is mental illness rather than some psychological thing overweighing your physical reality, right? Maybe it was, but fine. Yeah, again, if this is not intrusive, right? If this is not intrusive, and when I say intrusive, if this is not a central, if their identity isn't a central aspect of the show, in the same way I would say Bill Potts' sexuality was, and even that was kind of okay, but because at least it was well written in the midst of great stories. As I would say, even if it's as bad as Bill Potts, I think I'm okay with it, right? I think I will make that sacrifice. Why? So we can have peace, right? But more than that, we haven't seen more than that, right? It's always been these awful Mary Sue characters that are weird and useless. Right, that's a weird thing. I weird, useless, and perfect all at the same time. If you've seen Star Trek Discovery, they have a weird trans couple who are really young, right? Really young, and they act like they've been married for like 100 years. It's so bizarre. And they're just really weird, boring characters. They're just in a weird, boring drama. That's what happens when you get trans domination as opposed to trans representation. Although at times I'd rather not reflect on my obsessive Super Who era. So a word coined for fans of Supernatural, Doctor Who, and Sherlock. For those of you who weren't bullied at school. Here's the thing. That's something else. I said this in a video last week, I think. That everybody can be marginalized, right? They have this idea that if you're a white male, you cannot be marginalized. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. Everybody can feel marginalized. Nobody has a monopoly on it. Finn is casting transported back to those nights when I spent on Tumblr in the early 2010s. Okay, I very much segs with that woman on Tim Pool. For a couple of years, I even owned a pair of brown pinstripe trousers, and that I proudly wore in trainers in homage to the 10th Doctor, played by David Tennant. I think it's like a little beautiful story. Again, when we get to things we can agree on, you go, oh, that's so nice. I love that you loved it so much, right? Like, I understand we have a differing outlook on on many things. Why don't we focus on things that we would like? Yeah, I bet you're excited to see Will being wheelchaired around by David Tennant too, weren't you? I'm sure you were. And it's like we can let everything else fall away, right? We can let all the other bullcrap fall away and just talk about the things we love. And even if we have fundamentally different ways of looking at life, but something we did a good 5-10 years ago was we moralized our differences, our political differences. Firstly, we moralized our political differences, then we moralized any form of difference. And if you didn't think like me, you were immoral. And I want to be clear, according to my worldview, they are immoral, but it's also immoral to treat people that are immoral who are acting nicely to you, are acting normally to you, right? It's not... just because the Judeo-Christian system of morality says this is immoral, I'm not in charge, right? I'm not the one who's got to exact God's vengeance. God doesn't need my help. God doesn't need anybody's help. God's fine dealing with everything, right? Was it a collection of sonic screwdrivers lived on my bookshelf until my mum finally persuaded me that they were not decorative. My Media Studies GCSE assignment featured a photo of David Tennant Smith on the show's 50th anniversary episode. I got to see a Shonda should have got an A. Well, you should have got an A just for the Tennant and Smith, right? Fandom as a whole was very queer, and a large number of transgender fans, which was in part drew me. Well, the reason I think that there is such a large LGBTQ plus contingent is because the Doctor's an outsider, right? The Doctor's an outsider, and he feels a bit different, and it feels if that for me anyway was like it's great to be different, right? You could revel in your difference, and it made now was a lot of the LGBTQ plus said I always felt that Doctor could take me away, right? I never had that, but okay, whatever. Yet the show itself offered its queer audience very little in terms of representation. Captain Jack, I mean, a major character. Again, if you have this human nature imperative telling you that what you're doing isn't right, you're gonna be a bit paranoid that you're being told to hide. As much as you like, okay, just whatever. You wear what you want, define yourself how you want, right? We're all allowed to think what we all think our own thoughts. So there was Lady Cassandra from 5 Minutes who undergone so much cosmic surgery she resembles a bitchy trampoline. Yeah, she was wonderful. Mentioned that once she was a little boy. In 2015, Bethany Black played the first openly trans actress to appear in Doctor Who. In a smaller role than Finn. I don't remember her being in until. It is yet to be confirmed whether Finn's character will be transgender. Well, I think they have to be, because, look, it's like asking, it's yet to be confirmed if Finn's character is going to have dark skin. They're going to white her up? No, look, if you try... I've seen pictures of Finny, right? I've looked, I look very, very, very clearly a biological male dressed as a girl, right? I'm not saying she's not a girl, but very clearly a biological male. There's no way the character can't be a trans girl. It's very obvious. Where we were. Can't remember that going to be transgender, but either way, casting an openly trans actress in a role like this is a historic moment for British culture. Right? Not really. I mean, really, I don't understand. I think the historic moment was the EastEnders one you talked about, but okay. Too often, transfers are focused on the hardships faced by those who have transitioned. Well, the thing about being trans is you don't transition, right? You stay in this quantum state where you identify in one direction and you as one gender, and you have the sexual organs of another, right? So, but. Listen, I listened to the first couple of episodes of Redacted, the trans Doctor Who drama, and it was all about how awful it was to be to a transition. I mean, it wasn't all about it, but was a very, very clear recurring idea. This is the point that Finney raised. This is the point that Finney raised in interviews about her performance here as Elle in Heartstopper. Elle's story centers around navigating crushes and friendships like any other teenager, with passing reference to her transition. This is quite radical. Again, it's somewhat radical. It's somewhat unusual for somebody to transition, and I'm fine with this representation in culture. Yeah, absolutely. What I'm not fine with is lauding on of social currency for people to encourage people to come out as trans. I think there's we're having a difference between what is a safe space to come out as being trans and does that say it has to be a complete domination of the space, right? I don't think, yeah, on this side of the aisle we say, well, why does it have to be complete domination? I can understand, again, if you got a voice in your head going, this is a bit weird, you might need that complete domination, and you should feel compassionate. But again, if we can have a Doctor Who where we all love, right, with David Tennant, Catherine Tate, and I think it's gonna be Matt Smith, and I think it's gonna be a lot of stuff going on. I think it's gonna be awesome, right? I think the 6th anniversary is gonna be awesome beyond awesome. I think having a trans person here shouldn't be an issue. Now Doctor Who can be just as revolutionary. Trans happiness, trans love, and trans adventures through time and space with a two-hearted alien, please. I understand you want that, but that fundamentally changes the show, right? I hope putting this character in scratches that itch for you, right? But I that completely changes the show. Let's wait and see what they're going to do. For the black LGBTQ plus community, Finn is casting alongside Ncuti Gatwa as the first black actor to play the Doctor in a leading role. Marks a new age of representation in mainstream television. But you say that every 20 minutes. Every time another genre has taken over. I mean, you got the Obi-Wan Kenobi show coming out, which is all going to be about a black Jedi, a black female Jedi hunter, right? Who's stunning and brave and perfect in everything. Again, there's some weird thing going on that you do not feel visible, right? With all this visibility happening. Far more visibility than I've ever seen for Jews, right? Far more visibility I've ever seen for Jews. And last I looked, you didn't have 6 million of you round up and thrown into special camps you had to concentrate in, right? I'm sorry. Like, it doesn't seem it. So that's why I'm trying to theorize why there will be another reason. But who cares why? Why don't we just talk about what we like, right? What we can agree on. The LBG community is beautifully diverse in terms of race, religion, disability, size, and age, and also ideology. Right? You have so many in the LGBTQ plus who can't stand the use of the word queer. Right? They just can't stand it. Many there who vote conservative. Imagine that. How crazy can that be? As I get older, I increasingly look up to trans people who are younger than me, and finding a level of success I never thought would be possible for us. When I was young, I am so proud of them all. Okay, so then just list a bunch of them. I felt incredibly lucky to have Finney as my next role model. I look forward to seeing her set foot in the iconic blue telephone box next year, and showing a generation of trans world they can do anything, even time travel. Again, I'm happy for there to be a safe space. I'm happy that it seems ridiculous I'm saying that, right? That I'm happy for there to be a safe space for people that can come out and they can be trans without feeling marginalized. I'm not happy to do that at the expense of a much greater number of children, people's health, right? I am not happy, which I feel this is going to. But who cares about this bigger bloody argument? Wilf is coming back. David Tennant's coming back. Catherine Tate, and a lot more. Yeah, it used to be this is where we could all forget our differences. We could all forget our differences and unite. We can actually have shalom, right? We can be different, and we can connect, and we can just say, let's move on, right? Let's move on. Wouldn't that be freaking awesome? So that's what I will say to you. Try and have an open heart. Try and have an open mind. It might be awful. You might not be emotionally in the place where you go, I can trust this yet. I understand. I've been very hurt by Doctor Who. That might be the case. But just have an open heart. have an open mind. Don't be like the Mr. Trilbys of the world, right? It doesn't matter which direction you're racist in. If you don't like white people, you don't like black people, if you don't want anything, if you don't like groups of people, that's always being racist. Don't be racist. Be better. Which is like they always want to say, be better. And you know what? I may be an insane optimist. I may be an absolute insane optimist. But you know what? I'm very hopeful that we will. That we will be a lot better. My name is Tzvi Lebetkin, the rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.